Meanwhile, a big shout out to Kuro, aka 16 Squads and Seki, and Yaku of the Zaku. Thank you so much for the raid. For those who didn't know, we were hosting another tournament on a different channel. We were hosting the Duckling Open over on Kuro's channel, over on 16 Squads and Seki at Twitch. And because we had two events going on, we couldn't have Duckling Open on the CranKy Ducklings, so we had it on Kuro's channel instead. And Duckling Open just concluded. For those who don't know what the hell that is a bronze to diamond tournament. Basically a community tournament for all the people out there in the chat. If you're between bronze and diamond, we are hosting monthly tournaments. And we just wrapped up. Yaku even played. So thank you so much for the raid. Hope you guys had a great time. Hope you guys enjoyed the finals. Ga, papi ga, as we are getting into a qualifying match. Let's go. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the blue Protoss player representing Team Liquid. It is SKillous. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the French Terran player also representing Team Liquid, as this is a team kill, the red Terran. It is Clem. As a reminder, this is a qualifying match. The winner will advance on to the closed qualifier. The loser will have to try again next time in the second open qualifier. And if you are in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will advance on and who will qualify today. Will it be the Protoss or the Terran? Will it be Clem or SKillous? Best of luck. Predictions open. Best of luck, as we do see... we do actually see Clem going for the eBay block here on the low ground, going to be delaying the expansion of SKillous, being quite an annoyance here. And behind this, Clem going for his factory. So it was a single gas opener. It was an eBay block. The goal of this opener is to force the unnatural natural, but SKillous was very quick to pull the boys. He canceled the eBay. He will expand on location, and that means that a Cyclone follow-up is not as viable. Should be Hellions in the aftermath. We'll see how Clem pieces this all together, as Clem is going for a delayed CC on the low ground. Delayed command center here for Clem. Behind this, we're going to potentially go for an add-on swap as well. SKillous still choosing his take of choice, still just building up towards his natural. Again, his natural was delayed. There it is, CC on the high ground for Clem. There's the add-on swap that we spoke about. The add-on swap with that reactor. And we are settling into game number one. There it is. Cyclones are on the way. Meanwhile, back at home, SKillous is opening up Twilight Council. I do appreciate this. So, if Clem forced the unnatural natural, then traditionally you would go into a Stargate, just because it's a little bit easier to maneuver between your bases, and that's where Cyclones can really thrive. Cyclones, they thrive against Stargate openers. Thankfully, SKillous is going for a Twilight Council, going for Blink Stalkers. SKillous, he also scouts the ramp. He also gets eyes on the production, sees the reactor on the factory. He also, I believe, he hasn't seen the command center yet, but he sees the Cyclones. Big scout there for SKillous. He's going to turn back around and race back home. He's aware the Cyclones are on the way, and back at home we are getting ready. Shield battery on the way, another gateway as well, and Stalkers are amassing. With this shield battery, we should be fine. We should be safe and sound. The first two Cyclones should not be able to break through. So far, a good reaction and a good defense out of SKillous. Meanwhile, behind this, Clem going to be expanding on location, amassing another wave of Cyclones, working on his third and fourth. Cyclones have arrived again. The Marines are trying to tank some shots. Lock-on is going to be broken, and Clem is going to be forced back. We pick off a Marine, and then we back the hell off. Again, SKillous has to be very careful not to get baited out. The Adept will shade across the map, but it looks like we'll be caught out by the Cyclones. Very cute move there by SKillous, breaking the lock-on with that tall grass, but is hunted down. And with that, Clem is getting out of Cyclone production. Again, because it was a Twilight Council opener, because we're amassing Stalkers, these Cyclones, they can't really do too much. They're going to be stuck at home. They're quite good defensively, don't get me wrong. But Clem, he does back off and is working on the next step. What is that next step? Banshees. We have a 1-1-1 follow-up into Cloak Banshees on the way here by Clem. SKillous needs to scout. He needs to get a read on what's happening. Getting his third base for the time being. It is a 2-gate blink opener here from our Protoss. So 2-gate blink into a third. This is very economic. Very economic play here by SKillous. it means that he doesn't really have much of a presence. Sure, he's moving out with these stalkers, but there's no way to reinforce, there's no way to really apply any pressure. Clem is safe at home. Clem is perfectly safe at home. He hasn't seen the gateways, he hasn't seen the third. Clem is lacking a lot of scanning information, so he doesn't know how safe he is. We know, but we have all the information we need. Clem still piecing it together. Ooh, as he will lose the Cyclone. Nice pick off there from SKillous. Third CC is on the way for Clem. SKillous, he will confirm he does have high ground vision, and he can go for the CC. He will delay the base. Oof. Tank shot's going to be going off, getting quite a bit of damage done on those stalkers. Observer gets spotted. No, the Observer goes down. It barely did stop moving out. Ay, ay, ay. Observer is going to fall there. And SKillous will be forced out of the main base and can no longer get back in. At the same time, across the map, Banshee has arrived. But we have stalkers. We have detection. The Banshee, ooh, taking a lot of hits. Do we have Blink? We do. We do have Blink, and the Banshee goes down. This was not worth it so far for Clem. Losing his first Banshee. Does have a second Banshee, and with it, he gets a Stalker. Not bad. Does get a Stalker. Nice control there out of SKillous. Takes down 2 Cyclones for 2 Stalkers. Not too bad, but... did I say 2 Stalkers? A third Stalker falls. As SKillous is forced further back. But again, that was not a bad trade. Look at this. 3 Stalkers for 2 Cyclones, a Banshee, a Marine, an SCV. Good trades overall. Good trades by SKillous. And as he's been keeping the army busy, Colossus. Colossi are on the way. Charge as well, getting into Colossus production. The first one is already out. Second should be on the horizon. Right now, SKillous just has to buy time. And, I mean, I say buy time. Clem isn't pushing. He's expanding. He's expanding, and Clem really shouldn't be pushing out without his upgrades. Stim, combat shields, 1-1. All the upgrades are still on the way for Clem. Banshee's going to be harassing, but we have left plenty at home to defend. SKillous all over it. He's all over that defense. Blinking on back. Not losing any of his stalkers so far. Oh my god. That was close. 4 SCVs go down, and we save every single stalker. Very nice moves here out of SKillous. And likewise, he's keeping up with the Banshee harass. Overall, Clem is trying to set a pace for the game, and SKillous, he's keeping up. SKillous is keeping up so far. Behind this, a gateway explosion. Again, we're diversifying the army. Not just with Blink Stalkers, now with Chargeless, now with Colossus. We're blinking back into the natural. We get another 3 SCVs. And the Gas Geyser as well for 1 Stalker. Was brutal losing a Stalker there, but only 1, so still worth it for SKillous. Bearing in mind that when you go for a Stalker opener like this, you have to build up the Stalker count over time. Ideally, you want to skip Stalker warp-ins and spend that gas elsewhere on tech, on Colossus, on upgrades, on Archons. So the Stalker count is quite low, and it's going to stay low for a little bit longer here, as we've already built up towards 3 Colossi. Oh my god. We have hit critical mass of Colossus, and from here we should now diversify our splash damage. Whether it's Disruptor production or Storm, Archons, ideally we want something more here. And with the Templar Archives, I mean, we have at least Archons. We at least have those Archons. You can see the Banshee being active. The Observer does chase it, does follow it. We can see Clem now has all his upgrades. We spoke about this kind of 1-1 stim timing. Well, the upgrades are done. And how much does Clem have? He's up to 3 tanks. He's got a good amount of bio. Getting into Widowmine production. Working towards Ghost. He does get eyes on the 4th base. He does see. At the same time, Skills moving out. And Clem, he's running into the army. Oh, he does spot it. Yeah, forces him away. Trying to drag the army into those Widowmines. But Clem, he won't chase. Sorry, Clem, Skillous won't chase. He's diving on top of the tanks. The mines. Big connections there on the Stalkers. Yeah, brutal connections on those Stalkers. Colossus, they push on forward, but the surround. The boys have been pulled. Colossus, they're looking a little bit vulnerable here as the Archons are falling. Yeah, the army sims on forward. That was a chaotic fight from Skillous, and he's going to be losing almost everything. He's down to 2 Colossus. The Zealots are breaking through. But reinforcements are on the way. Clem has the defender's advantage. He will clean this up. Yeah, there's 2 Zealots remaining. We warp in another wave of Stalkers. Can Skillous do it? He barely will break through, and Skillous takes game number 1. Whew, GG. Bappy. SKillous. He barely does break through. I was concerned. I don't know if you saw, two Colossi for a big part of that fight weren't really fighting too much. They were shooting towards the Cyclones, towards the south. They weren't really adding to their DPS with the main bio army. But in the end, SKillous, he barely had enough warp-ins. He does break through. GG. SKillous now needs one more. One more game to qualify here for the closed qualifier. As a reminder, it's a best of 3. It is a best of 3, not a best of 5, which means one more loss, and Clem is out of it. Clem will be out of the qualifier, so the pressure is now on the French Terran, and I was very impressed by SKillous. Remember, in the mid game, we were pointing out how SKillous, he was keeping up with all the Banshee harass, he was keeping up with the Cyclone aggression in the beginning of the game. His Blink Stalker control was very nice. He was bleeding out like 1 or 2 Stalkers here or there, but it was still very well worth it for SKillous, and SKillous, he was popping off. We mentioned at the time, he was keeping up with Clem, which is impressive. Not something that many can say, so very, very nice, fast play out of SKillous. Speed-wise, does keep up with Clem. Macro-wise, keeps up with Clem as well. And now he finds himself 1 game away from qualifying. Whew. So again, I was very impressed there with SKillous in game number 1, but we'll see how this goes in game number 2. I don't imagine that Clem is going to go for another eBay block. I feel like the eBay block worked against him a little bit, where it delayed Clem's own economy. He went into Cyclones. The Cyclones didn't achieve anything either. In general, I feel like that opener is very played out. You don't see the eBay block into Cyclones as often anymore. It's very out of meta. It was very in meta like December and January. But now we're in March, and here we go, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Side Delta. We have our red Protoss player representing Team Liquid, leading the series 1-0. One more is all he needs. It is SKillous. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the French Terran player, the blue Terran representing Team Liquid as well. Down in the series, he has to fight back here and now. It is Clem. And it wasn't just the opener, but the follow-up. Remember, Clem, he opened up Cyclone into Banshee. The Cyclones didn't do much damage. The Banshees got shut down before they could do anything. He committed into 2 Cloak Banshees, and they killed like 2 Stalkers. They killed like 2 Stalkers, maybe 1 Probe. That was it. Again, there was quite a lot when it came to the build of Clem that never really came to fruition, and it allowed SKillous to actually get into his 2, 3, 4 base economy, to gain map control, to harass, to kill SCVs, all because, again, the opener of Clem also was lackluster and kind of fell on its face. So we'll see if SKillous can have as much success. We'll see how Clem deviates. Again, I expect Clem to go for a very different opener. I expect a very different build overall here by Clem. This time, no eBay block. This time, Rax Expand. I do like this. A straight up Rax Expand here by Clem. No fancy eBay block, no reactored Cyclones, none of that. Clem, he, in a way, tested the waters, and he kind of like skill checked SKillous a little bit. Like, yo, can you keep up with my Cyclone harass and with my Banshee harass? And the answer is yes. It's like, oh, okay. I'll calm down, Papi. I'll calm down. It's like, okay, thank God. As SKillous, he's going to be the one to turn up the heat instead. Let's go. Is this with the new patch? No, the new patch is still in PTR. The patch won't be live for at least a couple of weeks. So keep an eye out on social media and keep an eye out on StarCraft. I'm sure it'll be announced when the patch goes live. Right now, it's just a PTR. And the patch is not being involved in this. But SKillous with the proxy pylon is going for a proxy Stargate. So this is for oracles. We're going to be rushing out with oracles, zooming into the main base, and looking for economic damage. SKillous is going to be the aggressor. You can see Clem, he needs to get into the main. He needs to scout that main base, and so far, SKillous is keeping up and denying the scouts. Oh, the Reaper. The jukes, the jives. Huh. Trying to outmaneuver that Adept, trying to get onto the other side, getting a probe almost, not quite. Ooh, and it looks like we have outpositioned the Adept. We get into the main base, and big scout here for Clem. He sees, he should see, where is your pylon? Where exactly is your pylon? Why is it not at home? Adept gets across the map, and with that, he knows that there is a proxy. He knows 100% Reaper is on the way. Sorry, Cyclone is on the way for Clem. Reaper goes down, Adept falls, and here come those oracles. Now, basically, Clem, he saw that the second pylon was missing, which means the pylon and the tech has to be on the map. So proxy Stargate should be in the back of Clem's mind. And what do we have to defend? We have a Cyclone in between the bases. We don't know if the oracle's coming into the main or the natural. We don't know where the proxy is. And SKillous is waiting. Ooh, he's waiting for the second oracle. Okay, bold move here out of SKillous. But he's biding his time. That means that Clem, he's repositioning his army. Now he has a first, soon to be a second Widowmine. He's going to be burrowing them. And SKillous has to be very careful with his movement, not to be baited in. The drop moves out. The mine drop moves out. The oracles, they move in. There is one Cyclone, but it's not going to be enough damage. Is going to be done. We go for the Cyclone. It is going to fall. Yeah, we're going for SCBs. Boys are being forced off the mineral line. Marines are coming in, but they don't have stim. Ooh, they get an oracle. A big pick off. Big pick off there by Clem. He gets an oracle at the same time. They get into the natural. They shade into the natural base. Workers are going down across the map. We do have that mine drop coming in, though. And does SKillous react? Is he paying attention? He's not. Big connection. Just like that, 7 SCVs go down. And just like that, Clem, he deals even more damage. He still has one more shot here in the main base. Oh, the unburrow micro does unburrow that Widowmine, and we do get another 2 workers. 7 probes go down alongside 7 SCVs. So very nice counter damage here by Clem, and he keeps the Widowmines alive. Ay, ay, ay. No! It's gonna get another shot. Oof. 8 worker kills. And both Widowmines survive. Clem comes out ahead. He comes out here in a better position. Very nice damage. Now, thankfully, SKillous is working on a third. He's working on a third Nexus. But the scary thing here, as the game progresses, as we settle from here, Clem can do even more. But the Phoenix comes out. Oh my god. Phoenix has arrived. The Oracle comes back into the main base, getting 3 more SCVs before getting the hell out of there. And I was going to say that the Widowmines can get some extra shots off, and they still can. They still can, but it looks like we barely do lift. Very nice control out of SKillous. He takes down the medevac, lifts up one of those Widowmines. Oh my god. And can he bait out that shot with the shade? SKillous, he's been popping off. Oh, he baits it out. He baits out the bait. SKillous, when he's paying attention, when he has eyes on the army, he controls so well here. Cleans up the job, doesn't lose anything in the process. We have a game. We have a game. We have to take a moment here to take stock. Clem has lost 11 workers in total. SKillous lost 9. Likewise, though, the army is moving out. We have Stim finishing up here for Clem. This is a pretty devastating army. SKillous does run into it. Does run into it. Picks up almost a Widowmine. Does get it in the end. Trading out 1 Stalker for 3 Marines and a Widowmine. Clem is going to keep on pushing. Ooh, SKillous trying to catch the army or even force the army to turn back around. And do we have enough at home to defend? I'm afraid we don't. We're diving into the natural base. Boys are being pulled. Clem does not turn around. He's committing. Shield battery's exposed. It's going to fall. And Clem, he will break this base. Yeah, there's just too many Marines, too many Marauders. Mineral line's going to go down, and SKillous has almost nothing to defend. No shield battery on the high ground. Across the map, 19 SCVs are falling. We're recalling back home. We go for the recall, but we're going to be losing so many more workers. Oh, every single probe falls. The army rocking up the ramp, but there's just too much man with gun. GG gets called, and Clem will tie up the series 1-1, forcing the ace match. Let's go. Let's go. GG. Again, SKillous unfortunately woefully underprepared for the counterattack. Again, no shield battery at the natural. Shield battery was exposed back at home. And remember, when SKillous first saw the army moving out, he was hoping that he could force the army to turn around. He was hoping he could force that turnaround, which is why SKillous pushed into the natural, but Clem didn't care. Didn't care to turn around, he just committed across the map, and then SKillous was out of position. And sure, SKillous did kill 19 SCVs, that doesn't matter. SKillous, he may have killed a bunch of workers, but he needed to be back at home, he needed to defend against that push. And to be fair, even if SKillous was back at home, it would have been a difficult hold. Basically, I do think that SKillous could have only defended if he had an overcharge. If he had a shield battery with an overcharge behind his army, then he could hold on to that attack. Without it, it's very unlikely, as there was just so much DPS, so much firepower there for Clem. Snowball's out of control. GG, well played. We have an ace match. We have a game 3. Let's go. Let us go. As we're just figuring out what map game 3 is going to be on. Just catching up with the chat. Funara Kuro for not rigging the raffle in my favor. True, true. Funara. As a reminder, after this qualifying match, we will be diving into Estrella versus the winner of Rainer and Fighting Frog. That is where we are headed afterwards. So plenty of matches are ahead of us. Looks like okay, we're good. Just had some technical issues, but we are getting back into it. All good, happy, all good. I hope everyone has been having a good day. Clem, great. He's at least GM, true. At least. He's crazy, he's cracked. But there it is. We have our lobby. We have our map. The ace match. Game 3 is going to be taking place on hard lead. Oh boy. It all ends here. It all ends on quite a small map. Quite a short rush distance. My apologies. My apologies. Looks like there was a bit of a mistake. It is not hard lead, so we're going to have to remake the lobby. It is on Hecate. Okay. Likewise, shorter rush distance, but has far more bases, very defendable, a lot of choke points. We could see a mid game for the first time. We haven't really sunk our teeth into like a back and forth mid game between these two players. We could see that happen though on Hecate. I'm hoping for it. I am hoping for it. As Hecate will be game 3. Meanwhile, I'm just going to be double checking some stuff. Yeah, I'm just trying to check the calendar here for when our next cast is. Okay, so Open Qualifier number 2 is tomorrow. I was just trying to double check if it was tomorrow or the day after. But yes, tomorrow is Open Qualifier number 2. So regardless of who loses here, they will have another chance in 24 hours to qualify once again. And here we go. We're getting into game number 3, the ace match, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hecate, we have the blue Protoss player representing Team Liquid. It is SKillous. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have a spawner. We have the red Terran player from the land of France, representing Team Liquid as well, clawing his way back in, forcing the ace match. It is Clem. Here we go. It all comes down to this. It all comes down to game number 3. We have seen Clem vary it up. We have seen some varying openers. Game 1 was an eBay block. Here we can see that game 2 will most likely not comprise of that. We had a gate expand. We had a Rax expand build from Clem in game number 2, leading into that eventual stim timing. So we'll keep an eye on Clem to see if he does whip it out once again. As for the time being, it looks like a single gas opener. It looks like another Rax expand from Clem, which will be a little bit more economic. Not as aggressive as a double gas. Likewise, SKillous back at home, setting up his own gateway for his own expansion. And hopefully this time SKillous can maintain control of his economy. Again, I'll be honest, if it wasn't for the mine drop, right? If it wasn't for that mine drop from Clem, I feel like SKillous would have been in a much better position, would have been able to afford more warp-ins, have a stronger defense. The mine drop was brutal, because it did mean that the proxy of SKillous didn't really get him ahead. Didn't get him the lead that he was looking for. As the probe scout does confirm the opener, does confirm the lack of second gas. It is going to be a Rax expand. A very safe opener by Clem, going for the CC on the high ground. This is a little bit inefficient because this means that the CC has to float over from the main base, but just a safer way to do this. So again, just doesn't want to be caught with his pants down, doesn't want to be harassed by SKillous. So safe play out of Clem, back at home. Gate cyber expand here from our Protoss player, and we will soon be deciding our take of choice. Do we go for a Stargate or a Twilight Council? We'll keep an eye on SKillous. There it is. We have our answer. It is going to be a Twilight Council opener. This will be for Blink Stalkers, but the question becomes, how many gateways? Do we go 2-gate Blink, 3-gate Blink, or even 4-gate Blink? Each one more aggressive than the last, and some are more economic than others. Ooh, as the Reaper does get shut down. Big moment there for SKillous. KDA charge did not quite connect the way we wanted it to. And just like that, Clem is in the dark. Just like that, Clem has no idea what's going on. That was actually huge. Like, crazy for SKillous to be so proactive there. And Clem is going for a Hellion Scout instead. Thankfully for Clem, both units are out on the map, and there isn't anything at home to defend. So the Hellion will get in, and we'll figure out what's going on. Stalker comes out, 1 probe falls. We get eyes on the gateway at least. And seeing this second Stalker is a bit of a tell that it shouldn't be a Stargate. And so we are picking up Marines. We get 2 already. Oh my, we get a 3rd. Oh my god. We get a 3rd Marine. Hellion comes back around and we catch the Adept. We catch the Adept. We take down the Stalker as well. Nice trades here out of Clem. Making the best of it and dropping over the Stalker. Flexing his micro a little bit here, and SKillous, he has to back off. Yo, you give Clem a medevac, it's not going to happen. You cannot win that fight. Clem moving out with a mine drop. Ooh, very safe play. Okay. So as the Stalker is being forced back, we went for a singular mine. What this means, we make 1 Widow Mine to drop, and we go straight into Attack Lab, straight into tank production. This is very safe play out of Clem. He is basically hard countering 4-gate Blink. Speaking of, we have 3 gateways in the main base, 1 gateway with the natural. It's 4-gate Blink. 4-gate Blink here at his SKillous. Very aggressive build here from the blue Protoss player. And because Clem is going into such fast tank production, he's already got a tank on the low ground. He's going to have a tank on the high ground. Bunkers are finishing up. Looking at his vision, he did get eyes on the gateways, so he's fully aware of how many gateways there are. He sees all 4 of them. He knows. Clem confirms the build. Oh, the retargeting. Clem confirms the build. The Widow Mine drop doesn't do much damage, but it's scouted. That's what's important. The Widow Mine drop scouts, and Clem is preparing. I'm loving the Sim City here as well. Protecting that tank. Third tank is already on the way. SKillous is pushing in. Boys, they're already being pulled. We go for the tank. The tank goes down. Ooh, but we bleed out a lot of stalkers. That was what? 2 stalkers, 1 tank. Another warp in on the way. At the same time, Mind Drop comes back in. The Mind Drop and the Liberator as well. 4 probes go down. SKillous being pulled apart. Yeah, again, very limited mining going on right now. Liberator is finally going to be going down. We blink into the main base. We dive on top of the tanks. But again, we're bleeding out so many stalkers. A good half of the stalker count did go down. Going for another big warp in. I say big warp in. Because of the economy, because of the delayed economy, we can barely warp in. We have 4 gateways warp in like 2 stalkers at a time. The medevac, it's going to be going down. A big pick off. No more warp ins, no more reinforcements. Clem holds. Clem does hold, and SKillous doesn't have a third. We scan. We pick off the observer. The SKillous, he doesn't have a third base. He has no economy behind this. And Clem is getting further ahead. Now, if Clem is too greedy, if Clem gets caught out of position, then maybe we can make this work. Basically, SKillous, he's rebuilding that prism and he's all in. SKillous, he's all in at this point. It's all or nothing for the Protoss. War Prism's moving out. And we have to break Clem. Or die trying. We get the tank. Big snipe there from SKillous. Marines forcing this back. Another big warp in. That was a kill, not a cancel in the bunker. That was a kill. Looking at the unit tab, we're down to 1 tank. Can we pull this off? Can we make this work? So going into the main. No tank in the main, by the way. We camp the production. We're attempting to camp the production here. Starport is going to fall. Big pick off. We get the starport, and now we expand. A very late expansion here by SKillous. But with the death of that starport, no drops. No medevacs, no drop play. Clem is stuck at home. Oh, the force field! Cute move here. Force field on the ramp. Rotating around towards the natural. Going for the bunker. Oh my god. We will barely get it. A lot of tank shots went off. The army is quite battered, quite bruised. That's another sentry. That's another force field. We do get eyes on the tank. Very tempting to go for it. But there's a Viking. There is a Viking in position. We force a recall as well. Prism will barely escape. Whew. Scan at the third. Clem now knows that SKillous is no longer all in. SKillous has been expanding. And we'll see if SKillous can get away with it, because Clem has a massive, terrifying army. So we have 3 tanks. Quite a lot of bio here with Stim, with +1 and combat shields. Very important that SKillous gets eyes on the army, and he does confirm that we're just expanding and taking the third. So a big moment here for SKillous. He sees the expansion, and now he can breathe a bit of a sigh of relief. He can... Phew. Getting ready for his own collapse. Charge is done. Can SKillous break this, by the way? We got on top of the tanks. 1, 2, 3 tanks going to be going down. Without the tanks, this army is so frail. It's so fragile. And can SKillous break Clem? Zealots are running out. Yeah, we run out of Zealots. We're steaming on 4. The Stalkers are exposed. We need more Zealots. And we're getting them. We have a handful more Zealots. We got 14 SCB kills. SKillous is trading well here. Good blinks, but we're bleeding out too many Stalkers. Stalkers are falling. We're down to 5. 5 Stalkers, but we break the third base. We got all the SCVs, and now we back off. Whew. Now, Clem did save the command center. He saved the base, did do that at least. And again, SKillous did not have enough to break his opponent, but traded fairly well. I say fairly well because SKillous mainly lost his gateway army, and that's because that's all he has. Did bleed out a lot of Stalkers, which was less than ideal. Is pushing forward. Oh. Forcing out a stim. Prism into the main base, but we are in position to defend. Clem chasing down the army. Gets a stalker. Gets one, gets two. Gets two stalkers. But bleeds out marauders. SKillous going for another big warp in. Bearing in mind that SKillous has not taken his gases, he's taking another base, and he's going for just purely a gateway army. Zealots, stalkers, now some Archons are incorporated. But there's no Storm, there's no Colossus, no Disruptors. No higher form of tech. Just a Swarm Toss style. The Prism! We have to save it! Oh, it's gonna go down. Big pick off. Prism falls. And we have to retreat. Yeah, SKillous, he has to turn back around. And you can see that Clem is getting further ahead here. He's got a fully saturated third base. His army, the quality of this army is insane with 1-1. Now 2-2 is delayed. The armory is just now halfway done. But the size, it's huge. Show us the force fields. Up. Not quite. A decent force field here towards the end. Mind Shields, they connect here with the Zealots. As we break through, we get on top of the tanks. Good kiting here out of Clem. Yeah, gets all those Zealots, and SKillous has to respect the army. Almost losing another War Prism. And SKillous getting his fourth base. Still very minimal gases. Very minimal gases. Very just high quantity army. Just as many Zealots as he can, but SKillous is being outscaled. Is the problem. Is being outscaled. Mind Drop comes in. Oh. Getting 2 probes. SKillous just going for another big warping of Zealots. And the Mind Drop continues. Clem going for the third base. Going for the Mind Drop. The probes, the boys! They're bunching up! Oh. We split at the last second. 4 probes go down. Not a bad trade at all here for Clem. Widow Mines are waddling away. We drop into the natural. More probes falling. 10 in total. Oh my god. And SKillous is pretty all in here. He's pretty committed. We have to break our opponent here and now. But there's just so many Marines, so many Marauders. There's just too much of an army here, and Clem, he just collapses on this. Takes down the Prism. Big EMP on the Archon. And SKillous' army is crumbling. Again, the longer this went on, the worse it was. GG, and Clem will take the series 2-1, qualifying for StarsWar 11, the EU and America's closed qualifier. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Clem as he does qualify here. It was not a clean series. We did see Clem stumble at points, but overall, Clem, he was dominant. Again, the start of this game was so brutal. It was such a brutal start. Winding it back, if you remember, Clem, he was blindly going into a single Mind Drop straight into tank production. And that is ideal against 4-gate Blink Stalker. And as we saw, 4-gate Bling happened to be what SKillous was going for. Clem didn't know until his Mind Drop got across the map, and then he was able to counter every single gateway. He saw how aggressive his opponent was. He saw how aggressive SKillous was going to be, and as a result, he had bunkers, he had tanks, he pre-pulled the boys, or he was quick to pull the boys to repair. And even though SKillous was getting some damage done, it wasn't enough. It was not enough. He bled out too many stalkers. Again, Clem was just so well prepared for it. Minimized his losses. And with that, Clem snowballed out of control. SKillous had his own moments where he was like trading and killing SCVs. But really all SKillous was doing was treading water. SKillous, he was just treading water. He was just maintaining himself, trying to keep up. Trying to keep his head above water against the tide that was Clem. GG. GG, well played. Very well done here by SKillous to, again, make a series out of this and to force the ace match. Very impressive. Very impressive stuff. As with that, we have one more qualifying match left.